Welcome to the Dome Discussions Podcast. Your top source for all things New Orleans Saints. Powered by four voices who live and breathe black and gold. Touchdown! Every hit, every play.
Welcome to the NFL.
Every moment. We've got it covered.
Let's go! Let's go! Go!
All right, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? Appreciate everybody tuning into the Dome Discussions podcast. I'm your host today, Kyle Besson, joined by Caleb Yacarino and Drew Collings. If you could tell, I'm a little sick today, so I might sound a little congested for the episode. But we have some awesome topics to talk about, some things that I can't wait to talk about. But let's start it off with the news for today, which is Tyler Shough has been named the Rookie of the Month for December / the one game in January. And Chase Young has been named the Defensive Player for December / January. Look, I'm gonna start us off real quick because Tyler Shough absolutely deserves it. Like, he has flown up the boards for Rookie of the Year. The odds kind of dipped down a little bit after the loss to Atlanta. I don't know if I completely agree with that. If you thought he was the Rookie of the Year on week 17, I think he's going to be the Rookie of the Year week 18. I don't think much changed after that. But Chase Young, man, absolute dog. 5 sacks over the last month. Multiple games with, well, I would say multiple sacks, but 1.5 sacks. He might be the best player on the New Orleans Saints. Actually, I would go ahead and say he is the best player in New Orleans Saints. I know a lot of people had a problem with his contract coming out, that 1 year deal and then straight to a 3-year, $51 million deal. Not everybody agreed with it, but now looking back at it, it looks like the Saints got a lot of value from Chase Young, especially on that deal. And he's only going on to the second year. He's only 26 years old. Him and Tyler Shough are the same age, actually. So, like, Chase Young is a young core piece that this defense can be built around, and now he's accumulating those awards. And only, I believe, it was 12 games this season, he was able to put up double sack numbers. It's scary what he may be able to do next season.
Yeah, and you have to understand that the stats and the awards do not show how important he is to this defense, because if you remember, Chase Young was out, I forget for how many games to begin the season, but he was out for a good amount of games to begin the season. The defensive line was horrible. Like, Carl Granderson was getting a lot of cleanup sacks, so was Cam Jordan. But it was, I mean, there was so much time for the quarterbacks. It was one of the reasons the Saints were losing games. It was one of the reasons the defensive backs were getting picked apart. There was some big issues. Chase Young came back. They tried to, our offenses tried to just put the tackle on Chase Young, and they learned quickly that was a mistake. The pressure rate went skyrocketed when he came back. And as you said, Kyle, he is the most important player to this team, and he's probably the best player on this team. Does it mean that the Saints should avoid upgrading the edge rush room? Absolutely not. But this is a core player that you can go in the future with.
Yeah, I don't think it's an understatement to say that if Chase Young was healthy the whole season, the Saints season isn't over. The Saints are in the playoffs. I think you're beating the Cardinals in week 1, and I think you might get one more win at least in those first 5 weeks. So if Chase Young was there, I mean, he's boosting your team. He's elevating you to at least 1 or 2 more wins, and they'd still be playing right now, and they could be playing even longer. So I think Chase Young, I mean, that 3-year, $54 million extension, I believe it was, this offseason, it's looking like one of the best contracts in the NFL, barring rookie contracts. But it's an absolute steal, and he's going to be someone who's on your team for a while. Kyle said it. Chase Young is 5 months older than Tyler Shough. That's it. So he's going to be someone who could be on your team for the next 6, 8, 10 years, some in the foreseeable future. That is a foundational piece, and is someone you can build your defense around.
And you went ahead and said, like, the Saints, could probably have been competing for a playoff spot against the Falcons if Chase Young played one of those 5 games that he missed. And, I mean, that's not crazy to say at all, because he's that much of a game changer, a playmaker. We've seen it time and time again. One of the things that I think goes so underrated with his play is his awareness off the snap. I don't know how many times this season we've seen him either get so close to an interception or bat a ball down at the line of scrimmage because he immediately realizes it's some kind of RPO, some type of screen, whatever, and his awareness to get there immediately. Like I said, man, I can gush over his play all season. He's really opened up things for Cam Jordan and Carl Granderson as well. And I mean, speaking of that, shout out to both of them. Cam Jordan had not a career year, I would say. He's had better, but his first double sack season since 2021, and Carl Granderson Man, what a game he had against the Falcons. I wish I could pull up the numbers. I saw the stat line. That might have been like the best performance for the Saints all season was his performance against the Falcons in Week 18. It was a crazy game by him, and I really wish I could find the numbers because it was unreal. And let's go more into Tyler Shough because
Wait, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I looked at the schedule for Chase Young, or for the first 5 games where Chase Young missed. And so they lost to the Cardinals 20-13. It's not an understatement to say Saints probably win that game. And then the next week, I mean, this is looking like a good loss. They lost to the 49ers 26-21. And the Saints had 3 sacks, 2 of them by Carl Granderson in that game. 49ers is how they're going against Mac Jones, but I don't think it's an understatement to say they could have won that game if they had Chase Young. Then the Seahawks, I mean, we're not talking about that game. Nothing saving that. Then the Bills, 31-19. I think it would have been closer. I don't think the Saints would have won it. We were expecting to lose that game by about 50. So that's still a good performance. And then it was the Giants when he came back. The Giants were still gone, but the Saints won that game. So I think you could get 2 more wins. And then you're looking at a 9-8 Saints team who made the playoffs, is competing right now against, is it the Rams? I forgot who the 2 seed is, but someone like that. You're competing against a good team and have a chance to extend your season.
And I'd actually go back onto it because it reminds me of how frustrating the injury situation was with Chase Young when the season started. He never went on IR. He missed all 5 weeks. He suffered an injury heading into week 1. He was, sat for week 1. And, it was always kind of like, oh, well, he'll be back week 2. And then he was sat for week 2. And, well, now it's like he kind of has to come back week 3 or 4 because he wasn't put on IR. And it did take him up until week 6 to finally make his impact or his debut for the season debut, and he did make an impact immediately, and he was that type of player. And I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell me he was injured at all. So maybe like that, maybe the Saints sat him for a reason, right? You really don't want to risk any type of re-injury or things like that. But it was a frustrating thing. So go ahead and see him have this impact, though. It is like a what if situation. I mean, one play changes a whole game, no matter what the score was. But that Chase Young has been that player for the Saints this season. And like I said, he could easily be the best player in the Saints right now. It's hard to look out and think of someone who's better. Like maybe you think Chris is the best player in the team right now. I mean, obviously Tyler Shough can throw in that conversation, but he's still too young to give him that type of credibility. So it really might just be Chase Young, and he's making those plays, and his contract right now seems like one of the best values you can have in the league right now after people were worried that they overpaid for him. And we could go ahead and I mean, let's give Tyler Shough his flowers. I'm sure we haven't given him his flowers within the last 20 episodes of the podcast, right? And that's kind of why we went ahead and gave Chase Young as much as we did, because I mean, the Tyler Shough talk, I mean, we've said everything that we can, but he has played well, and it's the development that we've seen from him that's really promising. This is his first, I believe, his first reward. He hasn't gotten a Rookie of the Week yet, has he?
Yeah, this is first.
Yeah, so this is his first NFL reward. No Rookie of the Weeks, but Rookie of the Month, because that goes to show you his consistency. And I mean, he had back-to-back 300-yard games. He consistently puts up numbers, yards. The offense is moving. That's just do under Spencer Rattler. And again, this isn't a bash on Spencer Rattler. It's just something that Shough was able to do to elevate his guys. I mean, no disrespect to anybody that was on the field on week 18. I mean, he was throwing touchdown passes to Ronnie Bell and like that. Like, you didn't have Devon Bailey, you didn't have Chris Olave, you didn't even have your wide receiver 3 options. You had 2 starters from week 1. And he still had a close game, and he had a solid game. The interception, yeah, it wasn't great. Honestly, you probably saw that coming eventually. They were going to that route a lot in the game. But, I mean, compared to how many mistakes he's made, I believe that's only his 2nd interception within the last 5 games. So he's played great. He's added 3 rushing touchdowns. He had 5 passing touchdowns, and he's only had the 2 interceptions. I can't wait to see what he does next season. I'm worried about the sophomore slump. That's the thing. It's universal. Teams get taped. They start to prepare. They start to learn a little bit more about you. But I'm excited to see what he does, and 100% he earned that award.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't win a Rookie of the Week either, because, I mean, he was balling all month. I was very surprised by that. It kept going to different people. But yeah, it's the perfect scenario for the Saints. You finish the season with a Rookie of the Month quarterback. You feel good about your player. And hopefully, as you said, that sophomore slump does get avoided by the Saints making upgrades throughout the offense so that there's new parts of the offense. And Kellen Moore's smart enough to implement new things and not do the same thing over and over again because he was forced to do that against the Falcons. That's why that pick was thrown, because the wide receivers just, it was a bunch of backups and practice squad wide receivers, no offense. Hey, I wanted Ronnie Bell to have a legacy game and he had an amazing catch, so I'm happy about it. But he was throwing to wide receivers that either weren't getting open, making mistakes, stopping on routes, or dropping the ball. So the calls had to be mellowed down. Tyler Shough and Kellen Moore had a lot in front of them that they couldn't come over or get over. And then the fact that there were so many obstacles this month and Tyler Shough still had a good month is insane.
Yeah, for me, the reason why he didn't get offensive player of the week or offensive rookie of the week is because he doesn't fill up the box on the box score. He's really not going to do that with the weapons the Saints have. It's hard to throw for 400 yards when you've got Chris Olave and a bunch of friends who aren't going to consistently get open. And so I also think that's the reason why he's not going to get offensive rookie of the year. I mean, should he? Everyone around New Orleans will tell you how much of an impact he has and how important he is to the team. But just if you, the national media, fans of other teams, are going to look at his stat sheet and go, that's rookie of the year? That's the guy who should be the best rookie, who's had the biggest impact? And they're going to say no. So do I think he deserves it? Yes. Do I think he'll get it? No. But in future years, the sophomore slump, it's irrational to assume he's going to be amazing the entire year next year, have no mistakes, and play perfectly. That's just not how the NFL works. There's star defenders on really every team who's going to make a play. So he's going to have some struggles, but I think they have to. Their main goal this offseason should be to surround him with as much talent as possible so you can help not fully stop the sophomore slump, but just limit it. Limit it to a couple of games, to a couple plays, to a couple series. So you can still have the best quarterback possible while giving him a ton of weapons. If there's ever a situation next year where all you have is Ronnie Bell, you have Juwan Johnson, Audric Estime, you're doing something wrong. Get pieces, get backups, get stuff who can at least contribute to Shough and get open.
Man, I would say the media has taken quite a bit more of a liking to Shough. You're seeing it more and more, which it took some time, right? Because, I mean, to be fair, we were waiting for that after his Panthers game, the original Panthers game that he won, his first one of his career, because he played pretty well in that game. And, it was still crickets about Tyler Shough. And then, obviously, I believe, was it after that was the Rams game? No, that was before. After that was a Falcons game, a second Falcons. Anyways, he went on to put on the wins, and win by win, you finally started seeing the media start Shough and how he deserves it. So I do think outside of the building that we will hopefully hear from, and hopefully, those votes mean something because he was winning games. That's one thing that honestly, I don't know if any other rookie has made such an impact on their team. Tyler Shough he was the X factor for the Saints at the end of the season. He was the change that put them over for those wins. Do I care that it's the Jets, the Titans that they got wins over? No, I really don't. Because I say this every time, it's any given Sunday, any NFL team could be any NFL team. There's talent on every roster. I mean, you saw Jeffrey Simmons make as much of an impact as he did. All of these guys have talent. Yeah, I was about to say, maybe except the Jets. I don't know really how many guys I can name on there. They didn't have much. That is the most ridiculous stat line I think I've ever at. I can't imagine. The interception is the best part of football. Is my favorite thing is watching my defense. Jets fans didn't get to experience that
with Aaron Glenn as head coach.
Yeah, Aaron, that's the one. That's the thing Aaron Glenn should do the most is get interceptions, get takeaways. Four all season is absurd.
But before you said 4 all season. They didn't have.
They had 4 fumbles all season.
Oh, turnovers. So 4
0
turnovers,
interceptions, 4 turnovers. Yeah, 0 interceptions.
But before we go on and move on, because we have a trivia and then we're going to go to our main topic. I just want to ask you guys. Bias aside, everything aside, you look at the rookies right now. Who do you think deserves Rookie of the Year then? Caleb, let's start with you. Everything. Look, he's only had 9 starts. Tyler Shough's only had 9 starts. Does he deserve Rookie of the Year?
With how weak this offensive rookie class really is. I get 100% see it. Does he deserve it? I think it's a 50-50 like toss up right now. Bias, yes. Taking out bias, Ted McMillan did play every game, was probably the most important player on the Panthers offense, and honestly, the only reason Bryce Young had success in games. Like that's kind of he elevated Bryce Young. That is a impact that a lot of that star wide receivers make. That's the only argument. So I think it's a 50-50 toss-up. Quarterback bias, you give it to Shough. If you're removing that and you just have your own biases that for some reason, then you give it to Ted. I really think it's a 50-50 toss-up.
Now, I do want to say, so you said quarterback bias is Tyler Shough and not Jackson Dart. You're taking Shough over Dart for Rookie of the Year.
There's no way Dart should win it.
Like, here's
Shough
my
for Giants
issue.
fans, no.
You, like, with Dart, he makes insane plays happen. Everyone knows that. But to say that, like they should have probably won more games. Do you see that defensive line? And I know the defense had issues, but do you see that defensive line? You just paid Paulson Adebo to be your cornerback one. And you have Cordell Flott playing very well since coming to the NFL. Like, there are pieces around that I'm like, okay, you should have had the Tyler Shough impact when Tyler Shough came in. And that's kind of my issue. And look, and Jackson Dart has 100% outplayed what I thought he was going to be coming into the NFL. 100%. But it's closer. Like, Cam Ward's not in the conversation right now, which sucks. But Cam Ward's not in the conversation between those two. I think it really is Tyler Shough or Jackson Dart. But I don't see how you could see December and the win totals and say, no, Jackson Dart should have it.
Yeah, throwing 33 yards in a game it's not gonna help your case.
Justin Fields threw like 6 and like got in the first half and ran out of town basically. Like,
Drew, let's hear from you. Bias aside, your case for who should be Rookie of the Year.
I mean, in any other year, this really wouldn't be that much of a conversation, but for this year, it definitely is. First off, I saw someone say like how weak this class was, and they said this was a year for an offensive lineman to win it, and they picked Kelvin Banks. I'm flattered, but I don't think so.
Gray Zabel, can I just say real quick, Gray Zabel, I think would win. He is going crazy.
If you watch the Senior Bowl, you would have known that. Like, he was so good.
He was my guy. He was my guy.
Gray Zabel's a stud. But for the Saints, biases aside, if the terminology of what the award winners are is how important you are to the team, I don't think it could be anyone else but Tyler Shough. No one else had the Panthers. Yeah, they had a good turnaround, but they were having an easier schedule. And I think Bryce Young, it might have not been a huge step, but it was a step forward. And yeah, Tet helped them a lot. Like, it'd be inane to say not. But I think Tyler Shough, he turned a whole team around. He turned a whole fan base around. Like, the fan base was so pessimistic until Shough came in, and now they're the most optimistic fan base in the league right now. So I think the impact-wise, Shough's easily done the most. So biases aside, I believe he should be the offensive rookie of the year. Biases included 100%. I don't think he'll win it. I think he should. I don't think he will, but I believe he should be the offensive rookie of the year winner.
I do think he'll be, if he's not first, he's second. I don't think he's going to be third. His odds right now are, I think he's third or so. I think if he doesn't win it, he is second in voting. I'm just saying by voters, as voters come. I think he'll finish second. I think the media and I think everybody's a lot higher than it kind of looks right now, especially with that odds break from week 17 to week 18, where he went from like plus 160 to plus 1,000. I don't believe that.
Yeah, speaking of the media, just real quick, and it's a little off topic, but on topic, I'm seeing this agenda, and it happened during the draft season and all that because of Tyler Shough's age, that Tyler Shough's ceiling is very capped. If you watch the preseason games compared to now, you see what development is in the NFL. Like, no, these are not the same quarterbacks. If you look at his college tape and look at his NFL tape, Tyler Shough has thrown the ball away maybe 5 times this year, while he led college football in throwaways. Like, that's another agenda that I've seen that I hate, because it's like, no, his ceiling is high. We've already seen it. That's wonderful. His floor is high. We've already seen it. It's wonderful. his ceiling is not kept. Yeah, it might not be the ceiling of Cam Ward, or it might not be like Lamar Jackson's ceiling or Josh Allen's ceiling, but like it's not too far away. Development doesn't stop at 26. Yeah, arm strength goes away the more you age, but that's not stop. Like the development doesn't stop.
The development I think you've seen the most is him under pressure.
Yeah,
He struggled so much while under pressure, and that's not something that you just get with age. That's something that just goes away with age. Yeah, you might struggle to escape the pocket a little bit more, but his calmness and just the ability to keep skating the field and take a hit is something that he can keep going with. And I think that's the biggest thing that gives you a hope that, he can keep developing regardless of the age.
And with me, I mean, wow, okay, that fell. His physical capabilities, I mean, you're seeing them immediately. His ability, like his arm strength, his ability to use his legs, and he's not going to turn 28 and he can no longer throw the football. Like, it's not just going to be that. It's going to be maybe a pile up of, let's say, injuries and things. That's usually what takes away those things, is how fast can you really run, how hard can you really throw, is how many injuries have you suffered. And yes, Tyler Shough has suffered injuries throughout college, but none of these were tissue injuries. These are not lingering injuries that he's going to continue to feel, things like that. So when you take that away, he played 7 years in college, but he didn't play 7 years of college. He was in college for 7 years. He didn't play 7 years of college. So his body is it may not be a brand new car, but damn, that thing's got like maybe 10,000 miles on it, right? You know what I mean? You got a while to go with this. And what his development has really shown is his ability to process the field, how quick he processes and gets to the first read, second read, boom, check down, and his ability to create plays, get out of pressure, and yes, take a hit while delivering a football. I don't think I've seen him throw a bad ball while taking a hit. Maybe it's just slipping my mind, but they look like they've gotten there every time. So really, for me, that's where the development has really come. And maybe he has reached his max capabilities of his physical abilities. He's not slow right now. He sure is strong. He's got a zip on his passes. He's got a nice, beautiful touch on the passes. Maybe this is it for his physical abilities. But how much growth he has to go forward, how much more he can grow as a quarterback in his mind, that is not capped. And I can't wait to see how. I mean, this is a guy that he has played now 9 NFL games, and we're talking like about him like this, we're talking about him as like, not like, is he the quarterback of the future? You're talking about how good can he really be, and how good is Tyler Shough? Is he a top 15 quarterback? Right? I believe it was Bleacher Report just put out a ranking Tyler Shough, ranking the Saints quarterback situation and 13th best in the NFL. And that starts to say, is Tyler Shough going to be a top 15 quarterback, top 10? Or that's what we're talking about now. It's not anymore of, is he a franchise guy? It's how good can he really be? And that starts with, the film and the processing and getting things out. And his ceiling is so high with that because he already has the physical capabilities, and he has shown you that. All right, let's go ahead and get into trivia, man, because we will talk about Tyler Shough all day. It's my favorite topic to ever talk about. Okay, so look, I'm gonna tell you guys, I think trivia should be pretty easy, but you guys have said,
I think
if
it
it ain't
every time you've done trivia,
it isn't 2017 and plus, it might be a little. There's 2017 in here. It just happens to be his last year of play. All right, look, I think it's pretty easy. Let's get it started. This player was on Buffalo from 2009 to 2013, and then he was on the Saints from 2014 to 2016, and then Panthers in 2017.
CJ Spiller.
Not CJ Spiller.
Wait, so you said Bills, Saints, Panthers?
Bills, Saints, Panthers.
It's like 8 to 10 years old when he was on the Saints.
Is it Jerry's Bird?
It is Jarius Bird.
There you
You
go.
go. Yep.
Oh,
Saints
I forgot he was
legend
Panthers.
Jarius Bird.
I have his jersey.
Oh, Yikes,
I got
man.
it. I got it the year for Christmas. I got it when he, for some reason, I got it when we signed him or something that year, and then he was horrible, and I was sad.
He was a very big
Mhm.
signing for the Saints back then. It not work out,
He
not
is
at
he
all.
is the reason, and Justin Reed changed it. He is the reason, and so is Brandon Browner, that the Saints avoid safety signings. Justin Reed changed it, but that's why they did. That's why they avoid
Well,
it.
they
forgetting
did
Marcus
Tyrann
May.
Matthews too.
Well, it took a while. It took Marcus Williams leaving and Von Bell
Yeah.
leaving to change it.
Yeah, that was a time in Saints football. That definitely was. All right, let's go to my favorite topic. I think this might be a favorite topic to talk about this year. Because look, let's start it off kind of crazy, right? The Saints are poised for what should be a pretty big 2026 season, but there are mistakes that they must avoid at all hell. Reaction or example, the Washington Commanders. They bought in for Jaden Daniels' second season, and they are in a tough spot. Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore, they wasted draft capital. They wasted salary cap. Another example, maybe even worse, the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know what you're doing trading 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. Look, you may believe you only have one chance, but your chance was going to be under the legs of Jonathan Taylor. It was not going to be from the arm of Daniel Jones, and Sauce Gardner was not going to be that impact player they thought he was going to be. So basically what I'm saying is the Saints can't fall into that trap, right? You have a lot to build on for going in the future. That draft class was amazing. You know it would be better than one good draft class, another good draft class. Do not waste all of your capital going to get veteran players. Now, look, I'm not saying don't go get veterans. Don't sign veterans. Build onto your team. But do not waste all of that draft capital. Do not waste all of that salary cap to sell out for the 2026 season. Your quarterback is on a rookie deal. You do not have to win it all right now. I can't imagine watching my rookie quarterback be protected under 37-year-old offensive linemen that are getting paid way too much, and it just doesn't work out, and now you're screwed for the season to come. You know, things like that. Like the Commanders are not in a great spot. The Colts, even a worse spot. So I'm really worried that this may be with the Saints. And this, look, we saw it in Mickey Loomis's in the press conference. He's almost tempering expectations for next season. He already started doing that a bit, which makes me a little happy. That makes me see you guys are not going to try to win it all. Or look, try to win football games, but don't sell out to win it all next season. I want to see, because Caleb, I know you've mentioned certain things. It's kind of why I brought up about using all of your cap space on a guard for the offensive line. So I would love to hear your take on, should the Saints sell out? Oh, I didn't mention the part, right? They have the second easiest schedule next season as well, thanks to coming in fourth place. They have the second easiest schedule in the NFL next season. They have a chance in a weak division. They have I don't know what the odds are going to be at the end of the season. They may be favorites to win NFC South next season. Do you think they should buy all in and go all in for next season?
Okay, so there's two things that need to be talked about. So first, the trade part. There is absolutely no one I'm trading for except one player that could be available, and it depends on the draft capital 100%. But Max Crosby's still only 28 years old. That is a player. Hold on. When I think of Max Crosby, I'm like, oh, that's a 32-year-old edge rusher. No, he's 28, and he's coming off a bad injury, so I get it. But that is the one player that I would consider, not like if it's too expensive, hell no, but consider because he still fits the timeline. That's not trading for Marshawn Lattimore, who was clearly already falling off with injury issues and older. I think he what age was he when we traded him? 29? I could be wrong.
Somewhere around that.
Yeah,
but
around that.
older still at cornerback, which is there's an age fall off there. So that's the difference there. I still wouldn't do it. I would consider, I still wouldn't do it. Like, it would have to be a really good deal to do it. A fleece, but that's all. But trade for no one else. Free agency is a little bit different. And they can't, like, as you said, do not go signing out 30-year-old players or older. Don't do that. Maybe like on a 1-year cheap deal that potentially as a stopgap player, I'm fine with that. But you cannot be signing old players for $28 million. That's crazy. But I do not care what Mickey Loomis does to our future cap space because the Saints cap space next year is excellent. So why would you not take advantage of an easier schedule than you're probably going to have next year? A probably easier division than you're going to have next year. And, well, yeah, that's basically it. But those things, why would you not take advantage of those things going into next year when you don't know what's going to happen the next season in 2027? Yeah, the free agency is not as good, so you honestly don't have to do a lot of that. But the Saints should 100% in my mind draft or sign David Edwards from the Buffalo Bills, who I'm pretty sure is still 28 as an offensive lineman. So you have the age. He's probably going to be paid $20 million a year. That's just what the guard market is right now. And he's arguably my favorite guard available. I think a lot of Saints fans want him. He fits perfectly with the Saints. He has done great with the Bills. It just makes too much sense. And you fill one of the biggest needs of the offensive line. Build that offensive line. Not the biggest fan of Alec Pierce. That's been another name that people have brought up because I think you just need to go younger with the wide receiver room. And I think you just need a rookie. But those are the type of players. Like, that's my big splash player of the year is an offensive lineman because you need to fix it. It's such an issue in the running game and pass game. This offense doesn't work with this current interior group. So if I'm making a splash, that would be it. But I'm not spending $60 million this year also. That's insane.
I'd agree with a lot of what Caleb is saying. I think they 100% should make a splash on the offensive line. Then Alec Pierce is one that's a little bit more interesting to me. I mean, 21.3 yards per reception, over 1,000 yards this season, 6 touchdowns. That's just interesting. Like, you saw how lackluster the receiver room was this year. Even if you do sign him, it wouldn't bug me to go get a first-round wide receiver. So I can see that as an option. But I just want, the Saints can be optimistic about competing next year. But they also have to be real. Even if you have a good draft class, even if you have a good free agency, the end goal is a Super Bowl. And even if you have a great one of those, are you competing for a Super Bowl next year? I don't necessarily think so. So I think they should not rebuild, but just continue the path they're on this year. Sign a good guard, get someone like that. And then you still have Shough for 2 more years on a rookie contract after that, for his 3rd and 4th year. And then if next year goes well, then I think you should start really going in a lot more. But I don't want to see them go spend crazy, spending every single dollar they have to get a bunch of veteran players, trading away draft capital, doing all that. I think that's just irrational right now, but I do think they are in a good spot. They just can't blow it up this offseason.
And what you said is true. Shough does, after next season, you have 2 more years, but you probably only have 2 more seasons after this season of Tyler Shough on a rookie contract. You won't get the luxury of that 5th year option. So if you are going to extend Tyler Shough, it's going to be after year 3, or you're facing big problems of, I don't know, you don't know if you can sign your guy. That you don't take that risk. You sign your rookie quarterback, especially if he's playing well, to the year prior to his last year. That's just what happens. That's what the Saints will probably do with Tyler Shough. So if they don't go all out in 2026, you go all out in 2027. If Tyler Shough is that guy in 2026, if that's not the year, and I mean, they can't really right now anyways, right? They have a good cap situation. It's not bad as years past. They will be able to get around, I believe, was it 30 million in cap space available with just a few moves. So they'll have
and
the
it
money
won't
to
kill them
spend.
next year either. Like, it's not it's not what happened the past years. Like, you move that money around, and then you do the same contracts you've always done with the new free agents. You sign 4 or 5 free agents that are 20-something years old and are in the same timeline.
And you do that, and then 2027 becomes the year. Now, I would like for them to get a wide receiver. I don't know if it's Alec Pierce or not, but we always seen teams love to get their 2nd-year quarterback another wide receiver. It's usually Stephon Diggs. I mean, he went to the Texans for CJ Stroud year 2, the Patriots for Drake May's year 2. But you go get a veteran wide receiver. Oh, Josh Allen. It was also Stephon Diggs. But you go get your young quarterback a stud wide receiver for him to throw to. And I would like Tyler Shough to have another option outside of Chris Olave, because Chris Olave, I wrote a piece on him earlier. It's like, yeah, he still has these injuries concerns. He's also going to be getting a big deal soon. My projection was a 3-year, $100 million deal. It sounds big, but that's what the market is right now. Jamar Chase is getting $41 million. And Garrett Wilson, he'll be getting a little bit more than Garrett Wilson with one less year in the deal, is what I projected. The Saints are going to have to pay Chris Olave, though. So you're going to have to factor that in. But paying Chris Olave really doesn't take too big of a hit. Again, the Saints manipulate this all the way through. I do think they need to go out and get another one. But here's just a name to throw out there, because I know this is a very popular name, like you guys are naming, and it's Breece Hall. There's another name out there. Now, he's a free agent this offseason. So is that a move that you guys would do? Because that is a running back is a luxury move. It's always going to be a luxury, but you got to commit quite a bit of money to Breece Hall. It's not going to be that cheap. So is that a move that you're making as the Saints? I know your answer, Drew. I don't want to. I know your answer, Drew.
Yeah, I'd have to. I think there's just going to be a bidding war between the Jets, the Chiefs, a bunch of other teams like that. If he didn't have much interest, yeah, I'll slide some money his way. But I just don't think he's going to be on a team-friendly contract that the Saints could really afford.
Yeah, and it's like you're sacrificing potentially signing the guard for a running back, which then just is the same issue you've already had because you need to fix the offensive line. Like this. That's kind of where it's the good argument with it's the same kind of argument with drafting a running back also, because it's basically like drafting a running back and not fixing the offensive line, in my opinion. And that's just, but except way more expensive. Like, actually, it would be close because with how high you would draft a first round running back, it's very expensive. But like, it would still be like signing Breece Hall. He's going to be, a lot of teams are going to want him. He probably should have gotten traded. So, people or teams are going to want him. It's going to be a bidding war, like Drew said. And like, I would just avoid running back this free agent cycle. Honestly, get someone in the draft, get another young running back, get young. And look, if you don't get that guy and Alvin, like you fix the offensive line, Alvin Kamara's probably going to have a better year. Devin Neal's probably going to have a better year. And I'm not going to say Kendre Miller, but maybe Kendre Miller can have a better year. Like, you fix the offensive line, so many things happen. And guess what? You then don't have to draft an offensive line, which is something that's still on the table in the first round. Like, there's so many positives. And I mean, I have so many names that I could start listing off if you want, but like, there's so many other options the Saints can go with.
Yeah, and I know I keep beating the nail, whatever the damn saying is, about wanting a running back, right? I do want a running back for Tyler Shough. I think it is very much a need for the Saints. I think Alvin Kamara would be a great complement to a rookie running back if you could find a stud rookie running back. I know Drew's obviously is going to be vouching for Devin Neal, and Devin Neal did show some things. For me, I just don't think Kendre Miller has proven he can stay healthy, and I haven't seen it fully out of Devin Neal yet. You know, like I saw Audric Estime do what you would hope Devin Neal did, but that's not a safe roster spot for the Saints next season either, right? I don't think the Saints are going to go into next season with the same running back room that they currently have, which is going to be Alvin Kamara, Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, and then Audric Estime, right? So it becomes a question on what their running back room looks like, and I just don't see electricity in there. The guy that has the biggest big play power can't stay healthy, and that's Kendre Miller. We haven't seen him. I mean, it's been ACL injuries on and on since his career started, man. It's rough to even think that he can run that same way anymore. And I want the Saints to go get Tyler Shough a running back. I want them to be able to run the ball. I mean, we've seen what Kellen Moore could do with a good running back. It's something that I really want for the Saints, but it is such a luxury to have an elite running back. But it is also, at this point, what the NFL has become. You don't have 5,000-yard passers anymore. You barely get 4,000-yard passers. So a good running back is becoming more of a need. Yeah, you can plug guys in and fill it in, but I do think the Saints need to find a running back eventually. And I don't know if they'll be able to do it. I mean, I've already talked about Jeremiah Love. I know it's a luxury, but it is such a good pick considering we're talking about the Saints buying all the way in 2027, and this would be the start of that. Because you'd be committing a 8th overall pick to a running back. Maybe you could trade down. That is an investment. We've seen it with Bijan. And look, Bijan's playing great. He's probably a top 5 player in the league right now. It's not accounting to wins for the Falcons, though. And that's kind of where, you start naming. They can run the ball well. You have a top 5 player in the league on your team, but you're not winning more games because of it. That's how important the quarterback is. The Saints have the quarterback. Now you add a great running back next to him. You finally get that running game going. How good can the Saints offense be really when you can run the ball and you have Tyler Shough and Chris Olave playing at the level he did?
And
I've got a perfect fit. Or you go first, Caleb. I'll go the fit after.
Real quick, I was just going to say, I think the best way I can explain my feeling going into free agency is this is going to be a really good free agency to raise the floor. And that's kind of what we said last draft, where Saints just need to hit on picks. I do not care about the ceiling of this team, just hit on picks. And guess what? They did both somehow, which is amazing, but they hit on their picks. And we always said, okay, the next draft is when they kind of do that floor and ceiling thing where they get playmakers, but they also still work on this free agency, in my opinion, should just be look, you get an edge rusher that could be a depth piece. You get a defensive tackle, another defensive tackle. You get a offensive lineman, and you get a corner and a punter, and I'm happy. That's where I'm get a slot corner that could replace Alontae Taylor. We'll probably talk about that another time. Get a guard that could play left guard. And look, get a right guard also. There's good right guards available also. Get 2. I don't care. Just raise the floor. We don't need to raise the ceiling, in my opinion.
Okay, so I have a perfect fit that I think would be absolutely outstanding in the draft. And it's not Jeremiah Love. I think that'd be a great fit for the Saints. I think he'd be a good player. But in a later round, Nebraska running back Emmett Johnson, I think Caleb might not be the biggest fan, but just hear me out. Boom and Zoom works so well for the Saints. You saw Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara be the best running back tandem in the league. And you could kind of recreate that with Devin Neal and Emmett Johnson. Devin Neal is kind of the power back, falls forward, gets you those short yardage situations, while Emmett Johnson is kind of the Alvin Kamara hybrid. I mean, I'll read you some of the strengths I have of Emmett Johnson. He's excellent elusiveness, great juke and spin move, slippery in open space. He's a threat as a receiver, use jump cuts to seemingly teleport around the field, amazing short area quickness and bursts. That sounds a lot like Alvin Kamara and kind of some of the scouting reports he had coming out of college. And I've heard some people comp him not to the level, but as a mini Alvin Kamara. And people forget, Emmett Johnson doesn't have elite speed. He doesn't have that home run speed, but neither did Kamara. Kamara ran, I have the number pulled up, a 4.56 at the NFL Combine. Emmett Johnson's probably going to run around that, if not a little bit faster. Then he's not a great blocker, not a great short yardage power back, but you have Devin Neal for both those. So what Emmett Johnson doesn't do well, Devin Neal does. So I think those two fit extremely well together in the Saints backfield and can kind of complement each other to create a really good, underrated running back room that you don't have to spend a ton draft capital on. You could probably get Emmett Johnson in the 3rd round. I'm thinking is approximate where he'll go. Maybe he sneaks into the 2nd, but I mean, we still have time to see that. But I think if the Saints wanted to address a running back in the draft, Emmett Johnson is a perfect player for them.
And it kind of goes with the conversation that I was saying. And although I'm not the biggest fan of Emmett Johnson, is the conversation get the playmakers in the draft this year. I think, I think Ben Solak said it on Twitter, and I completely agree. From now to the future, there'll never be a bad wide receiver class. It's just there's going to be good wide receivers. This is a lower wide receiver class, and there's still good wide receivers, in my opinion. You could get a wide receiver. I don't want to pay a wide receiver 1 money because Alec Pierce is going to get the bag. He's going to get a lot of money from a team. So I'm not going to want to pay him with Chris Olave. Yeah, you have Tyler Shough on a rookie contract, but look, the Bengals have to pay 2 wide receivers, and I know they also have to pay Joe Burrow, but it's an issue. That's an issue. So I don't want to even get into that issue where other things need to be fixed, but now you can't. I don't even want to touch that. Same thing with a running back. Look, the running back age fall-off can happen at any time, and Breece Hall has dealt with injuries throughout his career. There's a lot of negatives to that. I'd rather have, honestly, and I know Kenneth Walker, I think Kenneth Walker would be a better fit in this offense. There are just running back and wide receiver I'd avoid this year. It's just all fix the trenches. They were not as good as we thought they were going to be this year. Fix the trenches and get a slot corner. And punter.
Okay, so I mean, I think, and it's kind of what I was leaning towards too. Is right. I don't want the Saints to go in and try to get a bunch of home run players this season and sell out for it and give a lot up, and kind of 2027 you can't go as spending as much, because 2027 is the 2027 is the year pending Tyler Shough's development, which we're all hoping and projecting to be better. Because even if the Saints win the South in 2026, that's just a glimpse of what they can be in 2027, right? The cap space that they're going to have at the time, the quarterback that they're going to have if Shough's development is on track there. It'll be huge. And I, as much as like I said, I do want to add that running back. It is such a luxury. And even though in the league it is developing and it's more and more of a running back league, it's still a luxury. You still have guys that can run the ball. The Saints couldn't run the ball this year, so maybe not all the time, but you still could find serviceable guys without having to go out and sell out for it. And I think that's probably what's going to happen this offseason. I think there's going to be a running back addition somewhere. If it's probably not going to be a splash one. It's not going to be a big one. But you're going to get a veteran running back who's probably done this for a little bit, who's going to, give you about 500 yards rushing opposite, or maybe not 300, 400 rushing opposite of Kamara, again, pending how well the run game improves generally. But the Saints do have the second easiest schedule next year. You are playing in the worst division in such of what you need to make the playoffs. You needed 8 wins to make the playoffs this season in NFC South. That is insane on a 17-game season. And the Saints were a game away from being in it after starting 2-10, right? They just needed one more win, a win over the Dolphins or such, and they would have been actually competing for the NFC South on Week 18. That's how ridiculous this division is. The Saints can compete next year, but selling out and, wasting, especially the way the Colts did this season, I'm astonished they did it. I thought it was a dumb move when they did it, and it was maybe because I didn't believe in Daniel Jones as much as everybody else did. But I mean, look at it now. Right? Well, what? I can't even fault it. Daniel Jones, tearing his ACL isn't his fault. But even if he didn't, I didn't think they were going to be. They didn't scare me, right? They were really efficient. It was really good. It was surprising how good they were being, but the Colts were not going to be the team to win the Super Bowl this year if Daniel Jones was healthy. And they went out and they sold out for it, and now they're screwed for the next couple of seasons. They don't have a first-round draft pick this year or next year. They don't have a quarterback. Daniel Jones coming off your ACL is going to be your best option to start in 2026. I don't know how good he's going to be then. So I keep going back to that, saying the Saints cannot put themselves in that position, especially getting rid of draft capital. I know Max Crosby was brought up. He was actually brought up in Teron Armstead's show, The Set, and I believe you talked with Nick Underhill about it. So, Caleb, you brought up, what would be an acceptable trade asset to get Max Crosby where you say yes? Like, maybe you're on the fence about it, but you'll say yes. Is it just a first-round pick?
It would probably be first and 2 seconds.
That you would possibly accept. So you would possibly accept the first and 2 seconds.
But I'm not touching 2027. I'm sorry. I am not touching. I am not. It would be, honestly, I'd give up a 2027 third, 2028 second and third, 2026 first and second. Like, it would be a lot of picks, but I'm not touching most of the 2027 stuff. Again, I wouldn't do it. I still wouldn't do it. But, like, it would be that little thought in my head, like, okay, let's just think about a longer term plan. I still wouldn't do it. Like, I don't want to trade draft capital. No, stop.
Yeah, and
we
see,
actually had a really good draft.
That's exactly
That's
what I'm
the argument.
I can't lose a first. I can't lose a second for the next 2 years for the Saints. I feel wrong losing a third for the next 2 years for the Saints, right? Like, especially with the value they got out of their drafts this year with Vernon Broughton, who we don't know what he is yet, but Jonas Sanker, who's turned into one hell of a player already. And yeah, he's had his ups and downs this season, but he looks great. And if the scout team can continue to go and get guys like that, that's more valuable than what I think, a guy that you're going to have to also pay a lot of money. That is one of the things that people forget when it's like, well, it's just a first round pick, right? You got to pay this guy a lot of money. You probably got to pay him a lot of money for a little bit, and it's going to affect your team for a while. I just don't think there's anybody right now that for the Saints I would trade those valuable draft picks,
Mhm.
and then also pay. Devon Vele seemed like a crazy trade to do with the 4th round pick. We didn't like it, and then also the Saints didn't use them. So that was something at the time. But even before they made the trade, it was like, okay, what's the plan here? Right? You're not gonna have to pay him, but a 4th round pick could have been a lot. Again, Quincy Riley came out of the 4th round, I believe. So did Danny Stutzman. 2 guys who were starters are making appearing in games for the Saints this season. So those picks can be valuable. It has to be for a player that you can see you could put in the lineup right now and cannot be cannot hinder your money for the next 2 years.
If the Raiders called me with that, I'm hanging up the phone and I'm blocking their number. I'll maybe give him a 3rd round pick. That's it. I'm not that interested. I don't want
I'll give up a 2nd rounder. I'll give up a 2nd rounder for.
I'm even hesitant to do that.
I'll give up, but that's where I draw the line. Is a 2nd rounder in 2026.
If you live or die had to make a decision, trade 2 firsts.
Nope.
I'm
not trading 2 firsts for anyone. Anyone in the league, I'm not trading 2 firsts for.
Trust me, you don't know the second option. 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Max Crosby, or 2 future firsts to trade up in the draft.
2 future firsts to trade up in the draft.
I'm taking the 2 future. I'm trading up.
I'm not giving 2 firsts and 2 seconds for Max Crosby.
Are we talking about like
maybe
2 firsts to trade up from
years.
2026? Like, let's say 2026. So
like, if we're okay, let's say Saints. So Saints are at 8 right now. They need to trade up to 3rd to draft whoever they want, but they have to give up a first next year also.
I will do it over Max Crosby. I'm not losing.
It depends on who's there.
Him.
I mean, like, I feel like there's enough receivers. I'm happy with anyone who comes down.
The moment you trade up and that prospect fails over a commodity you know is going to be dominant, and next to Chase Young, that's the argument. 100% paying.
But you're using
they'll be dominant.
You're using
how do they help the Giants?
I get it.
4
I get it.
Top picks. I can't lose.
I'm not.
I get it, but if I was in that situation, I am
that.
never. If the Saints trade up in the draft in the 1st round in the next 5 or 3 years, I'm going to be livid. Like, that's my thing.
2027, it could happen. That's the year. Like, we're talking about when do you start making
I still wouldn't do it.
2027 is the year where that can happen. 2026, you stay as disciplined as possible and you continue to build this team. So and that's what this conversation is, because some people Derek Carr is a great example of it. That's when the Saints should have tore it all down before.
Yeah.
But they thought they still had a chance, so they went and got Derek Carr on a big contract, and they went and they tried to compete for a weak NFC South. They couldn't even win the NFC South with Derek Carr at the time, but that was the situation where it's not like Mickey's immune to this. He has done it before. I think Mickey learned his lesson in 2026, and that's why he tried to temper expectations at the press conference, because he was like, look, we're going to build a team. We're going to continue to do what we're doing, but we are not going to go out there. We're not going to do a Derek Carr contract again. That Derek Carr contract, the Saints are so behind before. Tyler Shough is an absolute blessing for this franchise right now if he is really that guy, because being in this situation, if the Saints don't have Tyler Shough right now and they still have that great draft class, you still have a glaring need for a quarterback. And I guess they would be picking pretty high this draft if they didn't have Tyler Shough. So maybe we're talking about Fernando Mendoza, but then you got to find out if he's really that guy as well. And you keep doing this process until you find the guy, and then you're the Cleveland Browns, you're the Raiders, right? So this is that situation where Tyler Shough is that guy, but you cannot jump the gun. You continue to build, and one more year. Just give me one more year of a good draft class. Give me one more year of some solid signings. Find another Chase Young, another guy on a prove year. Find another one of him. Get another guy that you're like, okay, let's see what you got. And then 2027, we can start talking about these big contracts. We can start talking about these trading draft picks for guys, because 2027 should be your year that you go compete, but it all depends on what Tyler Shough and the Saints look like next year. They have to put together, I believe it has to be like an 8-win season, but honestly, I want you to win the South, but I have to see a lot of development. And then, you make the playoffs, you win the division next season, 2027, I'm all in.
So want to present just real quick, want to present this scenario because I want to see how many wins or what success the Saints has next season with the scenario in mind. Let's say the Saints sign with all their cap gymnastics of around $60 million worth of players. And I'm saying push that cap down the road, all that. $60 million worth of players this offseason. You fix left guard, right guard, slot corner with Alontae Taylor leaving, punter, and let's say a backup tight end or something. Then you go into the draft and you draft a best available player first. You could say a playmaker. I'm going to say wide receiver right now. So your wide receiver 2. You get your running back 2 later in the draft, and you get a depth edge rusher. Where do you think the Saints finish with that offseason? Because that's very realistic. So you fix nearly every single need on the roster besides maybe cornerback. But everything else has an answer.
I mean, in that situation, I mean, look, you come out in the South, you probably get 10 wins in that situation. That seems like, that's slow. All the Saints' problems are fixed, and now 2027 again. You can start talking about luxuries, but that's a 10-win season at least with the Saints winning the South. Now you got to remember, we are preparing for a sophomore slump. You temper expectations. This happens with every quarterback. CJ Stroud had one, still made the playoffs, but he still had his sophomore slump, things like that. So the Saints can make the playoffs under a Tyler Shough sophomore slump if they have a strong, solid roster around them. But in that situation, and these guys are on the roster now, and you found answers again, you hold it. You do what you can in 2026. You try to win. If you can get close, you try to win the Super Bowl. But 2027 is when you sell to do, or you buy. You're aggressive because that's your last year on a rookie contract, and that's the last year that you can do that. Any from you, Drew?
I was just trying to pitch who'd we get and stuff like that. And I mean, I definitely think you're competitive. In my mind, you got Denzel Boston, Emmett Johnson, Akeem Essador. You're looking pretty good. And that, so I think with that offseason, with that roster, I think you are making the playoffs. Yeah, as Kyle said, I think Kyle laid it out perfectly. Even with the Tyler Shough slump, you've seen teams like that make the playoffs. And I think the Saints would be good enough too. Now, do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl with that? No. But I think they could win a game. I think they could make the divisional, stuff like that. And I think you'd have a lot of hope. And then if you're in a good spot after that, then 100% sell some stuff in the 2027 offseason or to get ready for 2027. If you give up a 3rd-round pick to get a star or a 2nd-round pick, I'm nowhere near as upset. And I think that'd be a good move.
Yeah, and I think the best case scenario, just with that mindset, the best case scenario for the Saints this offseason is to put the ball in Tyler Shough's hands to fail next season. And what I mean by that is you need to know what you have with Tyler Shough next season with pieces in place. You need to see if he can fail with everything perfect around him or succeed. That's all you need to know next season. If he succeeds, you make the playoffs probably. If he fails, you don't make the playoffs. And guess what? You're looking for a quarterback in 2027. It sucks, but that's worse than a sophomore slump if he fails. That's Will Levis type, fall off. That's bad. But he could easily be Drake May, where Drake May came in, shined, and now he's an MVP. I'm not saying he's going to win MVP or Tyler Shough's going to win MVP, but I'm saying that's easily a thing also because, as we said, for our examples of the Texans and the Commanders, Jaden Daniels got injured. When he was playing, there was a lot of, there's apparently so many coaching issues you can't even count them. And the roster was also bad. So they all took a step back. And with the Texans, they had to fire their offensive coordinator. The offensive line was horrible. There were issues there also. So as long as the rest of the team doesn't take a step back, I really don't see a sophomore slump happening.
I will say one of the things I'm most excited for next season is, this was Brandon Staley and Kellen Moore's first season with this team. They don't have the pieces that they don't have their offense, their defense fully fleshed out. They don't have the pieces that they really would have fully wanted yet, right? We're going to see now another year of drafting of pieces that they envision this offense to work and this defense to work. More excited about to see what Brandon Staley could do because he turned this defense around quickly, and especially in that second half of the season. And again, without all the pieces that he envisioned when he's taken over, right? It takes times. It's going to take one draft. It's going to take two drafts, and these guys got to develop. I'm excited to see what this defense and what this offense looks like. And that's going to be even more prevalent next season to see if it really is as, if Kellen Moore is really the offensive play caller that we thought, and if Brandon Staley could be. Because a lot that we're going to figure out about Tyler Shough, and we can keep going on Tyler Shough, that next season is going to be a big season to tell what these guys were planning when they took over for this offense and for this defense. And that's another thing, right? Is Kellen Moore actually your guy? We kind of breeze over it because he's built something over here, and it looks nice right now. You got what you think is your quarterback, and it's all thanks to Kellen Moore. It's his guy. It's who he wanted to go. This locker room rallies behind him. You got to figure out if Kellen Moore is going to be your guy that's going to win you a Super Bowl, because at the end of the day, that's going to be your end goal every time, is to win a Super Bowl. And 2027 is that year that if Tyler Shough is that guy, Kellen Moore is that guy, 2027 is going to be the year you sell out and try to do that. And it's going to be interesting next season to see what this offense and what this defense looks like when the coaching staffs get to bring in more pieces and it get to flesh it out more the way that they saw it when they took these jobs.
Yeah, and you have to think about it in 2028 offseason. Almost probably in the 2027 offseason also, you're not going to have Cam Jordan, probably DeMario Davis. Chase Young's going to be out of contract. Cooley McKinstry is going to be close to needing a new contract. Justin Reed's going to be out of contract. There's going to be a lot of turnover. So that is the goal. You need to make the playoffs next year, which it's crazy that we're saying you need to, but you really need to in this division. You need to make the playoffs next year, and you need to be fighting for a Super Bowl in year 3. That's really what's happening. The window opens once you find your quarterback. The window is here. You just need to start building it.
Yeah, I think that wrapped it up. Honestly, I thought this. We talked before this. We said this episode was going to be a little shorter than normal. We only had 2 topics, right? But they're heavy hitting topics, right? These are some big topics. First, shout out to Chase Young. Shout out to Tyler Shough winning their awards. And this team looks dangerous, right? I think I just named your most important pieces on both sides of the ball right now, Chase Young and Tyler Shough. It's very fitting that they ended this last month of the season out on top with awards. But that's going to be it for this episode. I don't think anybody else has anything else that they want to add on, right? We're extremely excited to see what's going on. Hopefully next episode we've got Nick to join us. He's got a fever right now. I'm luckily just congested. That's why I sounded like this the whole episode. But man, I'm excited to see what this comes to, and it's all thanks to what Kellen Moore and Tyler Shough are building, right? This season would have looked a whole lot different if it continued to go the way it did with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, and everybody's kind of like, no, you got hope now. And it's why we can have these conversations of should the Saints buy in 2026? The answer is no, but we get to have these conversations. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you guys join us for next week's, and we'll see you guys next time.